We're coming to you live from the studios of 1108 here in the suburban areas of Baltimore, Maryland. This is No Filter Sports, and I am your host, Brian Lyles, and we are girlless today. That means this is a man show. Kelsey and Miss Jessica, they are away on assignment, but hopefully they'll be back next week with some interesting insight of what they've been doing for the last several weeks. So, but with me today is just from last week, without his partner in crime, John the Gift.
What up, though?
All right, John, how you been doing, man?
Been pretty good. Pretty good.
Just getting your fantasy draft ready?
Yeah, actually, I got invited to a team, or a league, unexpectedly. It's not a pay league or anything. So I didn't do the draft. I let the automatic draft do it for me. Because, money ain't involved. I'll just roll with it.
Uh-huh.
But, I got Jamal Charles first. Drew Brees. Let me see. I can pull it up real quick. It's actually a pretty good squad. It's got 2 Eagles on it, which I don't like having rival teams players on my fantasy team.
Right.
Because it throws me off. Like, if they play the Skins, you know what I mean? Like, so I can't root for Zach Ertz or Nick Foles. But those two are on my team, by the way.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm just gonna stall and wait to pull out. I got Beast Mode. Yeah, my first 2 picks were Jamal Charles and Beast Mode.
Mm-hmm.
Drew Brees, Keenan Allen, Wes Welker. It's pretty good, right?
That's a good start. So.
I just can't believe Keenan Allen is rated or projected higher than Wes Welker.
Well, Wes Welker is getting old. I mean, he's 38.
But Keenan Allen, I guess, is the number 1 receiver at in San Diego, right?
Yeah.
Welker's one of 3 beasts, I guess. Him, actually 4.
Yeah, with Marshall.
If you count the tight end.
Yeah, but the thing is,
and they got to do from the Steelers.
Yeah. So, but see, San Diego, they're kind of iffy anyway because they're rebuilding anyway. So we'll see what happens. But we will be talking. Hold on. We will be talking about the AFC very, very soon in the second half. Basically at the 9 o'clock hour of the show.
8:30 hour.
Yeah. So anyway, but if you have any comments or concerns about the show today, you can go to my Instagram, BTB Pics, or you can tweet me at Brian3SL. John, where they can find you?
At John the Gift.
John the Gift.
On the IG and the Twitter. Even I don't. Do anybody use Twitter anymore?
Yeah, the people still use Twitter.
I only use it when I pick that while I'm posting on Instagram. That lets you pick the other 2. I haven't exclusively used Twitter in ages.
The Twitter it's still viable, so that's where I get my porn. So hey.
Yeah, I used to follow Carmen Hayes and Maya G. But then their pages disappeared, and I just went into it anymore.
Yeah,
I found Carmen Hayes' Instagram though.
Oh, you found her?
She was recently pregnant, so I don't
so her boobs got really big.
Yeah, I was kind of into that, but I think, is it true Maya G retired? You know Maya G, right?
Kinda. So,
oh yeah, she's black, so
yeah,
of course she
would. Anyway, we're getting into Rex Stanley mode, which we shouldn't be. So we're getting into No Filter Sports mode, but we are going to talk about some some fine physical chicks. This past weekend, I went to my first ever NPC competition. It was very interesting. I don't know if you've ever seen.
What is it?
It's like bodybuilders, physiques, and all that. Those people those big bodybuilders.
Oh yeah, I got a coworker that's in that.
Yeah, I went to the Sean Ray Classic, and the main reason I went there is there was a friend who I met thanks to Lana Ray of Kiss Models Agency, which is in the area, ladies and gentlemen. She pretty much runs the Maryland fashion industry. And if you
one question, is she hot?
The lady who I met.
No,
who we went to see? Or Lana Ray?
Yeah.
Oh, Lana Ray? Yeah, she's hot, but she has a boyfriend.
I'm not looking to Date? I'm looking to creep on Google Images.
Creep. Well, you could creep on Fashion Awards MD and also
Fashion Award?
Yeah, Fashion Awards MD, because she initially created that, and it's going to be in its 4th year next year. So if you're interested in that, but the person I went to see, her name is Amber Lena. And that's 2 different words, Amber and Lena.
So she's from the South, is what you're saying?
No, actually, she's from Indiana. Yeah, she's a big. You talk about a football fan. She is a big Colts fan, and she's been loving them. She's got almost every jersey of the top players. So she has a 2-man.
So Andrew Luck.
She has Andrew Luck. She still has a Peyton Manning.
Oh, Reggie Wayne too.
Reggie Wayne. She has a Harrison.
I guess Hilton's legit now.
Not yet. So I mean, she's so far she just loves that team. So she goes, and she enjoys it. But anyway, I went to see her and see her. This was her very first competition. She's been working out with this trainer by the name of Luis Valez, and he does this amazing. He has a small little shop, so to speak, gym, but he pretty much trains a lot of these, not just only women. But
and what was the name of this particular event?
It's called the Sean Ray Classic.
Okay.
And it was for a lot of these people who are mostly first time getting into bodybuilding, gives a chance to, if they succeed, they get a chance to get a pro card, and they go to the big national events. And that's what a lot of people do. They start off with these little small events, and they try, they improve, they get critiqued by judges and things like that. It's at first I thought it would be very long. Because when I initially
that's what she said.
Yeah, that's what she said. Me and my 6 inches. It's
a good 6.
A good 6. And with all the fanfare you get there, you kind of expecting, okay, it's going to be a long one. Because I asked some people in the line, and they said, oh, this is going to be like about a good 4 or 5 hours. And that's just preliminary judging. So I get there, sit down. I'm enjoying myself. I get to see my friend Amber. She's part of the bikini competition. So there's the actual bodybuilder physique where you see, the men and women, they're all bulked up and, you see the veins and all that stuff, and they do the normal poses and all that stuff.
It's called being vascular.
Yes. And then there's as they say, the more model-esque. So they're looking, the bikini, and it's, pretty much the mannequin.
Because what is it? How many? Was 2 tiers, right? It's like the bodybuilding women,
bodybuilding,
and fitness is not quite as muscular.
Well, fitness is something really different. It's, I think, because you also get to see them actually do something physical. So in the fitness part, so you be seeing them doing some type of fitness act. But these people is pretty much posing, a lot of posing. So. I've known Amber, several years. We mainly talk through Facebook, and
does she respond? Or?
Yeah, she responds. So we have pretty much a good lengthy conversation on Facebook.
I can't talk shit about Brian on his own show.
I know, man.
Go ahead,
save it for the Rex Stanley show.
My mic's cut on.
Yeah, but that's one person is me. Oh, whatever. Ernest commenting. Anyway, but I don't know, that fool Ernest. I don't know who he is. But anyway, the point is seeing her from one point to another is very interesting. So, when I first met her, she was, model-esque type of girl, and she looked fit, way I see it. And, when you ever meet her, she's very attractive and everything. Next thing you know, she starts going to the gym, and, just like nowadays, I've been following a lot of the fitness, especially women. So you're seeing their physique and all that stuff.
With binoculars.
With extreme focus with binoculars. And, she's really getting into this. So, and there was a point in time when I told her, when she still does the modeling thing. So she ends up, taking some modeling pictures of what she was going through at the time. And she looked really good. And I said, hey, you should start doing these competitions. And I'm like, she's responding, oh, think about it. So her trainer, Luis, pretty much pushed her, gave her that extra push, and it's like, no, we're gonna, you're gonna do this, and she's done it. So I interviewed Amber right after her preliminary competition. So we will discuss about that after this nice little brief interview.
The very first ever fitness body passing. How do you feel right now?
I feel good. I'm glad I put the work in and got on stage. It felt good. I was nervous too, but I'm really happy I got this done.
So what kind of started? First it was like normal fitness stuff, and next thing you know, it just became a more competitive venture. It hasn't.
It just kind of happened. I met my trainer randomly, and we started working out together, and he's like, let's compete. Let's see what you can do. So I was like, all right, let's go. It just happened, like overnight. It's crazy how things lined up.
So what was it like walking on that stage and hearing your friends cheering your name and things like that?
It felt really good. It gave me a really big smile on my face and took out the nerves.
So what would you say to someone who's doing this for the very first time?
Just go out there and have fun. Don't worry about it. Remember what you learned.
Win or lose, do you feel like you would be wanting to do this again?
Definitely. Yes.
And if this goes the bigger stage, how well prepared will you be then?
Even better prepared, because I know what to do now and what to expect.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Amber. Amberlina, that's her name. She is in the area. She's from Indiana. Among all the people that were, all the ladies there, I really wish that she didn't win the competition. She didn't get placed, but she did very, very well. I think for anybody for a first time, I think she did very well, and I hope she does plan to do a next one. The next one she's doing is in November, and she's bringing a couple of her cohorts as
what do you call them?
Cohorts.
Yeah, that's offensive.
It's cohorts.
Oh my bad, I misheard.
Yes, you misheard. So she's going to be joined by a couple of other ladies, and mind you, her friends were, they felt like they weren't ready just yet. But they said they'll by November, which is right now you can say 2 months time. They'll be really ready, and I hope to again get a chance to hopefully see them. If not, then I will support them from a distance. But going back to the timing of everything, the funny part is it went by quick. I mean, they bring in the guys, get through the guys first, and then, they judge them, and then they finally get to the women, and by the time they were done. And it was like, and they started at 10, and they were done by 12:30. They were scheduled to pretty much be done by 3, and then have some time lapse to where to get at 6 o'clock, where they're supposed to be the finals. So they were done by 12:30, and everybody's like, okay, what are we going to do for 5.5 hours until the final judging? So
put on more body oil.
Yeah, get another tan. So, but anyway, again, congratulations to Amber. I, again, highly support you and what you're doing, and I hope that you continue on doing this. Again, if you want to learn how she did this, you can ask her trainer. Her trainer name is Luis Valdez, Valdez, and he has a company called Rock Built Gems, and the other ladies are the Gems. So if you ever, yeah, so Rock Built Gems, you can check out their Facebook. Luis's Facebook is Luis Stamped Mr. Valdez. You can check him out, ladies. Check him out. Trust me, folks. Amber looks amazing. If you ever go to her Facebook page or go to the NPC competition, Likelihood Muscular Development was there and taking pictures, or you can go to #NoFilterSports because I was there taking some pictures. So that was fun. So anyway, again, Amber, thank you, and hope to talk to you down the road. But now let's get into something more interesting that a lot of people are kind of aware, maybe. The Clippers now have a new owner.
Yeah, the cornball from Microsoft.
Yes, and it's kind of funny the fact that I understand that the Clippers needed a change. I understand that you get another guy coming in, and it'll be whoever. It'll be completely different than Sterling. As long as he's not Sterling, everybody will be happy. So this dude, he's a trip. A complete trip. I mean, he's like loving people.
Yeah, I saw his like rah Jim Zorn speech.
Yeah. Well, you got to think of the fact that he's trying to. His name is Steve Ballmer, Ballmer. He's.
I think he was second in command to.
Yeah, he was second in command to Mr. supposedly Einstein of Microsoft. But I think that he's a good good breath of fresh air for the team. But it gets to the point when you got to ask yourself, okay, when's the honeymoon over? And especially for this team who I think last year had the ability but really didn't have the heart because of all that drama this past season. It just kind of deflated them, and now you're getting a new owner, new vision, and you kind of get the sense of like, okay, will he be kind of like Cuban, in Dallas, or is he going to be what? Because you really don't know what this guy's going to be. Right now, he's getting, yeah, go Clippers and all that stuff, or, that's good in the first 20 minutes of after you say, hey, I'm the new owner. What's going to happen after the fact?
Well, I mean, he's been part of one of the more successful corporations in American history, so I think he probably knows how to delegate and stay out the way. Mm-hmm. So outside of the corny speeches, I don't see him, being Mark Cuban. Uh-huh. I mean, he probably has an ounce, like 1% of the charisma Mark Cuban has. Mm-hmm. But I think he'll get out the way. I don't think you'll ever hear his name again.
Unless he's
because you shouldn't. You shouldn't.
But somehow lately owners have been they're like the fifth face of the team, which is and technically you kind of want that, and at the same time you don't. You really don't want to know the owner, but at the same time when you do, you want to know, okay, you end up finding out, okay, this is where my complaint's going to, of why certain things are the way they are. And I just think that, for right now, I think the Clippers will be in honeymoon mode for up until midseason anyway, until we'll see what happens there. Because right now, they're the face of, the Staples Center. It's not the Lakers anymore. The Lakers been kicked out, for Christmas. It's now the Clippers. Temporarily. But I think it'll be for a while. So
there will soon be balance to the force.
Kobe's about to retire,
old, quote unquote, but
Kobe's about to retire.
He got at least 2 years left.
I'd say one. I don't know why everyone's saying. I just think this. I mean, if he's going to go through this type of rebuilding period, I think he's going to retire very soon. I mean, his knees haven't been the same. His game hasn't really been the same, and he cannot carry this team again. He just can't.
I wouldn't say you're going to carry him, but like you said, I mean, it's still going to be something to watch. It's going to be intriguing.
Yeah, it'll be intriguing, all right? Just see how the cookie crumbles in Tinseltown.
Yeah, hopefully the cookie's not his kneecap again.
Anyway, just some breaking news. Speaking of basketball, the women's NBA just announced that the Tulsa Shock... I'm sorry, it's the Seattle Storm. Oh, my bad. The Seattle Storm.
No one knows the difference.
Yeah, they do. The Seattle Storm, the only basketball team in Seattle, will be getting the number one pick in the WNBA draft next season. So that's good to know. Anyway.
If you say so.
If you say so. Anyway, when we come back, we're going to take a break. We're going to try to fix whatever's happening in the background and
man down
and get a little bit more into this fantasy football, see who's our number one picks and all that stuff, and which will prepare us for the AFC discussion that we'll have. So stay tuned. And while I find something very interesting, John, can you tell us what's going to be coming up in the fall premiere of the Rex and Naomi Show?
Debauchery, laughter, good stuff like that. Nothing, that we want to reveal right now.
Oh, or you're keeping it under wraps, huh?
Yeah, but it's going to be a really big show. Really, really big show.
Okay. And actually, if you're interested,
And Brian's on the show, by the way.
I try to
distances himself.
Yeah, distance completely.
When he lacks filter talking about sports, but yeah.
Yes. So, but also the fact, what's the celebrity? You have a new
TEA.
Yes. And Ebony is Ebony and Erica. They're the tag team for the website, but Ebony is a new female co-host of the show. So
yeah, I thought we classed it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what I mean?
Okay. If you want to put it that way, here's the worst.
Shots fired.
Yeah, shots fired.
And despite the music, this is a sports show.
Yes, it is. It's a damn good sports show because it's no filter sports. Anyway, John mentioned the fact about his fantasy. He's just
fantasy football team.
Fantasy football, not his fantasy.
Yeah, I don't want to hear about my fantasy.
His fantasy football. Actually, this year I am in a league, but lately I've been doing it for over 20 years, and I've gotten to the point of I need to retire or just take a break from it.
What were y'all using, like graph paper?
Back then, yeah. We were back in
the draft.
Yeah, we were at pretty much. We had to write things down. We had to go through books, use newspaper, to get the stats and all that stuff. I mean, it was bad back then. So yeah, how it is nowadays is very instant. Thanks to of course the internet and everything. So. Back then, literally you had to work, to getting information of how good or bad your team is. And especially the worst part is like doing trades. You got to call this guy, to call the other guy who's the commissioner to see if they can accept the trade and all this stuff. So it was kind of bad. But now everything is very instantaneous, which is really good for everybody. What was your number one pick on your fantasy team? Who did you pick number one?
Well, the auto draft, Jamal Charles.
Oh. How did you, let's say this, if you controlled it, who would have been your number one pick?
Probably Jamal Charles. I mean, I think him or McCoy make most sense. Mm-hmm. And between McCoy being the Eagle and me thinking, I don't know, he's had 2 big years destined for maybe, a little letdown. Mm. I probably would have picked Jamal Charles anyway. As
a number one pick, I have a philosophy. And you guys can take this all you want. It depends on where your draft position is. If you're in the top, I would recommend this. If you're in the top, if there's a 12-team league, if you're in the top 4, go running back. Everybody, you have that one fool dude who'll try to get a Peyton Manning, a Tom Brady, an Aaron Rodgers, or Drew Brees, aka Greg Stanley, who will get those quarterbacks because they'll get the big numbers and all that stuff. But they're quarterbacks. Quarterbacks, can only do so much for you because of the fact of the way their points scores are. Because based off of how many touchdowns, how many yards per 10 points per yard they'll be getting and things like that. Getting a quarterback broke off. Hey, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh,
yeah. Good gravy. You gotta love how this studio is built. Everything's falling apart. So anyway,
when Brian's here.
Yeah, when I'm here. So anyway, I'm gonna hold it like this. Yeah, baby. Due to the fact that
like a cook.
Due to the fact that the quarterbacking position is not all that focused on in fantasy football. It's always been focused on the running backs and the receivers. So like I said, if you get the top 4, top 5 draft position, pick a running back, and especially one of the top tiers, like a McCoy. I would recommend this. Avoid Adrian Peterson. Because you do not... Yeah. As much as a beast as he is injury prone. I don't know. Yes, he is. Come on, yes, he is. I mean, come on. Towards the injury he had against the Ravens, he was done for the season. So I mean, you kind of want to, and he has ever since that knee injury where the next year he came back like and for some miraculous reason, so, and it gets to the point where, okay, he had another beast season. That's great. But then the next season, he's injured again. So my viewpoint is, if you want to get him, use him as a second running back. Do not use him as your number one. If you're, let's say again, 12 team league, if you're in the bottom 4, like 8 through 12, look into receivers, especially if you're the number 12, double up, get 2 receivers back to back, especially some top receivers. I lucked out in one season getting T.O. and Marvin Harrison. It helped me big time.
Apparently.
So I end up winning the Super Bowl. My fantasy Super Bowl. So it's something you got to look into, and look into those top receivers. I don't know who they are nowadays because everyone keeps moving around. You can say Deshaun Jackson, but you got to look into that chemistry between him and RG3.
And having the leading receiver from last year playing beside him,
right,
might affect him.
You can also look into the Broncos receiving core if you like. But then again, as much as, Peyton Manning looking like $1 million in preseason, there's no guarantee he's going to do the exact same thing we did last season to this season. So, there is a lot of question marks you have to look into, and I highly recommend do research. Don't base everything on, everyone does do the homer thing. It never works.
Even though I did get RG3 that rookie year, and that paid off. That's massively.
Right. So, but a lot of people will be basing off of, previous performances, which is, mind you, it's good to use, but at the same time, you really have to look into, like the likes of Russell Wilson. He had a great year, but you have to question it. Will he be the same again? Colin Kaepernick, I said it last week, you have to question it. Because will he be the same? And he's something to correct, here. For 49ers, mind you, were in the NFC Championship game 3 times, but Colin Kaepernick only quarterbacked 2 of them. Alex Smith quarterbacked the first one against the Giants.
That's still a lot.
That's still a lot. So I give credit where credit is due.
2 of 3, right?
Yeah. So, but the key teams that you really got to look out for, defensive, and a lot of people forget about the defense. They're still Seattle.
Historically, it's been the Ravens, but
Ravens gonna be dropping because the quarterback issues is going to kill them. As long as if they find some healthy cornerbacks, they'll be all right. But then again, hopefully that offense will be the key thing this season. But we'll get into that in the next hour. Also, you can still say the Niners defense, but that's also a question mark because again, their defense hasn't been really helpful at certain times, except second halves of games. If you kind of historically, if you notice in the last few years, so anyway,
a sleeper pick would probably be
who's your sleeper pick
for defense? Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
The Bucs.
Lovie Smith coach team. Remember what the Bears defenses did.
Okay.
And remember what the the old school Buccaneers defenses did, which he was a part of. So.
Right.
Turnover machine. So that's what you want.
All right. Who's your sleeper offensive person?
I would say Watkins with the Bills.
Okay.
Is that right? Sammy Watkins, wide receiver?
Yeah.
I think he's going to be dope. They're comparing him to Randy Moss, even though he's not as fast or not as tall.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think he's as fast, but not as tall.
Mm-hmm.
But the rumblings from him is like he's smoking everybody, catching everything. So
right.
That'll be my sleeper offensive pick there.
I'm looking at, let's say this. Sleeper defense, I would say the Dolphins. I mean, if they focus better this season, I think they'll surprise some people in the AFC East, and I think that will be beneficial for them. I mean, they did a lot of turnover stuff towards the end of the season, and they gave Tom Brady some fits in those 2 games. So
yeah, they're pretty good.
So I would look into the Miami Dolphins defensive wise. Sleeper offensively. Damn. That's a tough call because there's so many guys that are kind of like they're kind of already established and some aren't.
I feel like, I mean, it sounds dumb, but I almost want to say Darren Sproles too. I mean, he's actually dope, but he's a backup to the best running back in the league. But I still think he'll put up some decent numbers.
I think actually that will be my sleeper because he's the type.
Glad I can help you out.
Thank you. You know, that's all we need. Yeah. He's the type of guy. I mean, he helped the Saints offense very well. I mean, he was the backup to Deuce McAllister during that Super Bowl run. And a lot of people were focusing on McAllister, and then next thing you know, Sproles just surprised everybody. So, and I think he can do the same thing for this Eagles team with their reconstructed offense. I think he'll at least get a good, he'll probably get the same amount of numbers if Foles, can find him. Because the key element is everyone's saying is like, I don't think Foles will be the same guy he was a year ago. So
I'm hoping not.
So we'll see how that goes. Who's your bust? Who's the one guy you're avoiding?
Andre Johnson.
I have to agree. I mean,
all this drama shouldn't help him during the year. He's historically been a good pick, but it's too much going on right now.
I think he needs to leave Houston.
And who the hell is playing quarterback for him anyway?
I think it's Fitzpatrick.
Exactly.
The journeyman. Yeah. I mean, actually, the funny thing is, I saw, the NFL Network, they keep re-airing the preseason games, and I saw this guy with a beard, and I was like, wait, is that Dan Fouts? I mean, he's back. The Texans are not bad. You got to get a Hall of Fame quarterback.
What doing at Harvard?
Fitzpatrick?
Isn't he Ivy League dude?
I think so.
He could be doing a lot better than what he's doing now.
I know, but he wants to be a quarterback, so I feel sorry for Matt Schwab though. I mean, he Schwab.
Matt Schwab.
Yeah, Schwab.
It's like it's two syllables, like Schwab.
Schwab.
You sound
Schwab. Yeah. Anyway, I just feel sorry for that dude because it's like that was his team, and he had the driver's seat to lead that team to a Super Bowl, and he just could not get through.
Yeah, and he looked horrible. I saw some of the Raiders-Vikings preseason. Mm-hmm. He threw a pick like first or second drive. Like he's still a turnover machine. But it was weird because he was so good for years.
I know. I mean, he has the top receivers, got great running back. Kubiak is, being the head coach, but, good offensive mind to help him through this. And just couldn't do anything. And then the defense, I mean, that team was pretty much built defensively. But they had the offensive, they snuck into some great offensive talent, and somehow the defense was very good, but somehow it's just like, what the hell happened? You had a number one pick with Mario Williams. He's gone. Wyatt is trying to lead this team to wherever it's going. I just feel sorry for that team, unfortunately. I thought it would at least have,
Yeah, they went from Super Bowl contender to
bust.
First pick in the draft.
Yeah, in matter of just within a year, in a sense, and they, that's the weird thing about the NFL. They say because they keep constantly, there's all this crazy. Yeah, not for long. So speaking of not for long, I don't know if you heard two things. One, they've announced the finalists, if you want to call this, of who will likely be the halftime show at the Super Bowl this year. It will be either Coldplay.
That's weird.
Well, Katy Perry.
It's like having Radiohead.
All right, Katy Perry, and
I'm all in for that.
And my girl Rihanna.
Either one of them. I prefer Katy Perry for some reason for Super Bowl.
Yeah. Now, if they had all three, that'd be great. Because, Rihanna and Katy Perry can reunite. They can rekindle that friendship they've lost because of stupid Chris Brown. Rihanna and Coldplay, they've been friends. They've done a record together. That would be cool. So right down in there, if you had all three, that'd be great. If you had Katy Perry, I'm cool with it. Rihanna, I'm stoked. Coldplay, whatever. But here's the funny part. I don't know if you heard. The NFL is asking.
Want some money, right?
Yeah. It's like, okay, we want you three to be on our show, but you got to pay for it. I'm like, wait, what? normally it's like you got to pay the act to show up to these things. Now you're doing it in reverse.
Apparently, whenever any particular artists get announced for the Super Bowl, their concert sales and everything skyrocket. Even for them already being established, it's apparently a significant jump. So, that's the NFL, man. They just know how to roll when it comes to money.
Well, no, the NFL is being stupid. It's like, you're asking these artists, I think it's right now, $100,000 to perform? Which makes no sense to me. This is like, it's supposed to be in reverse. You pay us. You wanted us, but you want us to pay? I don't get it. And here's the thing. It's just the halftime people, the halftime artists. It's not normally they get some celebrity to sing the national anthem. They always get some group and act with, during those pre-Super Bowl shows or whatever. No, this is the halftime show they got to pay. It's kind of like a bit unfair, don't you think?
It's absurd.
So, I mean, that's why I think the NFL has gotten so stupid lately, and especially under this Roger Goodell era. I just feel like I just had enough with them sometimes. Sometimes it's like by the time I get into the season, we'll see what happens. So, but I'm going to support my Ravens. But anyway, the second thing, I don't know if you'd heard, on my way up here, I've been hearing the fact that the NFL drug testing will be ending soon.
Seriously?
Not
Like
ending not completely. No, during the season, it'll be ending after this week's preseason game. So pretty much it's like, okay, I don't know.
Now Jackson, like,
so you're
2 years too late.
I know. It's kind of like, okay, wait a minute. So you're putting this out there, the fact that, hey, Kay, we are not going to be testing anybody after the third week of the preseason, not the regular season, but the preseason. So pretty much you just gave all the players a chance to like, oh, okay, light them up after week 4. I mean, it's just like, are you? This is why the NFL is so stupid for all this overexposure of letting people know what's going on. There's certain things that the NFL fan wants to know. Who's the number 1 pick? When's the draft? When's the Super Bowl? How good their team's going to be? When the games are coming on? And that's it. Everything else is irrelevant. That to me, it's gotten to the point where it's like, I do not need to know every open book thing that this league needs to do. And telling me about your drug policy does not help. So as long as we know that you're going to be checking these guys, so check them. Do the random testing. Don't tell, if they get caught, they get caught. Okay, this guy got busted, he'll be out for 4 to 6. Fine. I'm down with that. All right? But exposing the fact that, hey, we're going to stop testing after week 3 of the preseason doesn't help you.
Historically, I think they only tested in the off season. No, anyway, I thought something like that.
True, but
apparently they knew when they usually could get tested, which made the people that tested negative look like bigger idiots.
True, but here's the other key elements, because a couple of Pittsburgh Steelers are playing today, and they got busted. And they got busted. They got into an accident afterwards.
His last name's Blunt.
Yes.
Doesn't get any better.
Irony. So
I heard his middle name is Smokes A.
Yes. So I just think that the NFL really needs to, just chill this out. Don't overexpose things. Don't open yourself up to scrutiny, huge scrutiny down the line, because trust me, they're going to get it. They've already done some other stupid things throughout their, years. This is another one that's going to add on. John?
Whatever. Either way, I don't care. They don't test for HGH, which is the one thing they should be testing for.
Yes, but they
know pothead, stoner, cokeheads going to get extra 100 yards a game from doing that. It's HGH.
That's true.
Competitive advantage. As opposed to partying disadvantage.
Anyway, we're going to take a break again, and when we come back, we're going to talk about more football. We're going to talk about the AFC, see who will be facing our teams that have a chance. I still have the Seahawks going in the NFC, going back again. John has the Niners. If anyone else has whoever teams they think would be going to the Super Bowl, let me know at Brian3SL on Twitter and BTB Picks. Before I go, I have a question for you, John, and we have a special guest. If you hear some rumblings in the back, it's our intern Anthony.
Fire his mic up.
So I have a question for you.
Hashtag Rex Stanley voice.
Yes. Last week I mentioned the fact about where they originally were, and I gave you 4 teams that were everyone knew but didn't know where they exactly originally came from, and everyone got stumped about the Rams and where they originally came from. So again, the correct answer was they came from the Cleveland area, so they were known as the Cleveland Rams when they first started. But anyway, I got a very interesting one. We have a new baseball commissioner, Rob Manfred. He is the new baseball commissioner. Pretty thinking of him as being the next Bud Selig, which is not good. So, and we'll see how this goes.
That's a strike reference, right?
Yes, that's a strike reference. Okay. And but the question is based off of the commissioner's office, and the question is this: who was the very first Major League Baseball commissioner, and what was his very first actual act? That is the question. I'll give you a song to think about this. And so again, who was the very first commissioner of baseball, and what was his very first initial act as the commissioner of baseball? So when we come back, right after this, don't turn away.
Probably racist.
I threw out there a trivia question. I hope everyone either text me, tweet me, whoever knows me, or knows John.
No one knows.
No one knows. Okay, here's the trivia question I left you guys with. Who was the very first Major League Baseball commissioner, and what was the very first act he initiated when he took office? John.
Who is Big Daddy Kane for 700, Brian?
Okay.
I have no idea. I'm a Negro from the inner city, so
that'll.
My baseball knowledge is limited, and that's just pretty obscure.
Okay, Anthony, you want to give it a shot? Give you a boost up mic. You want to say something?
I grew up on outside of Beltway, so yeah, we didn't play that.
Don't they have the RBI thing?
It's lacrosse, sir.
Oh, it's lacrosse. Okay,
that's what Maryland does.
All right. Anyway,
and crab cakes.
All right, I will give you this answer. His name
and heroin if it's Baltimore.
Yeah. Stop. Anyway, his name is Judge Kensaw Mountain. That was his middle name.
Told you he hated black people.
Yeah. Landis. Judge Landis. He was the very first Major League Baseball commissioner, which came in 1921. You'll be surprised. What was his very first act? I'll give you
spitting at Jackie Robinson.
No.
Wait, that's too early.
Yeah, way too early. What was his very first act?
Negro League.
Say again?
Negro League.
No.
Negroes.
He said Negro League.
Negroes. Uppity Negro League.
A little too close.
I know. All right, here's...
His first act was...
And they made a movie out of this. I'm surprised you don't remember unless you never saw it.
Telling Babe Ruth to be good.
No.
Throwing his powdered wig in the trash.
No. Last shot.
Having a harem of overweight brunette women.
No. Okay. Before we get into an act, here we go.
Switching to cotton uniforms. Oh, no, wait. That was George Costanza. My bad.
Okay. The first act that Judge Landis did as commissioner was, you ever heard of the Black Sox scandal?
No.
All right. Back in 1919, this will be 5 years from now, will be almost 100 years, folks. 100 years of this scandal.
Brian saw it all.
Pretty much, thanks to this movie called 8 Men Out. The 1919, the Chicago White Sox was facing against the Cincinnati Reds for the World Series. And apparently, the Reds won the series 4-1. But a lot of shadiness was going on in that game. So the White Sox was pretty much the dominant team during that time. And a lot of people were wondering, it's like, okay, how are they losing this? They had the better pitching. They had the better hitting. They had one of the best hitters in the game at the time, Shoeless Joe Jackson. Shoeless Joe Jackson. That was his nickname, Shoeless. And apparently they ended up throwing games. So they investigated for 2 years. So after the series, a lot of, they pretty much, they thought this was done and over with and all that stuff. But the owners and a lot of were kind of concerned about certain things, and they were noticing that a lot of behind the scenes people were making a lot more money than they should have. A lot of the players were getting some extra cash than they should have. So they investigated. And the owners, it took 2 years, and the owners decided, okay, we need to get some ruling on this. So the judge who was ruling on this at the time was Judge Landis. And he convicted all 8 men.
Wait, so he's a judge and the commissioner of baseball at the same time?
Initially, he was a judge. He was judge on the initial case against these guys. So at the time, the players were pretty much cleaned off. They were just like, hey, they were not sentenced. They pretty much were given a pass. But the owners decided, hey, we don't want this happening again. So they hired Landis after the fact he was coming off the bench anyway, and say, hey, would you like to be our commissioner? We need a commissioner. He was the very first, and he accepted the job. His very first act was to ban those 8 guys from baseball permanently. He pretty much said no one will be gambling in baseball ever again. If so, they will be banned for life. To this day,
I feel like in 1920 you could just like
Do whatever you
put
want.
on glasses and a mustache and
true,
go play for the Dodgers.
true, but back then you can't. So
I said my name O'Shea Jackson.
So sadly enough, Shoeless Joe Jackson, he really was he was during the investigation, he was the only one who pretty much just played the game. He didn't take any money, didn't take anything, but he was mixed into all this, and unfortunately, he is still banned from baseball, and that means he's unable to be into the Hall of Fame.
Right.
Another person who is banned because of gambling is Pete Rose. And the whole hubbub about having a new commissioner is hopefully, hey, can we relieve these 2 guys? Because it's been, for Shoeless Joe's almost been 100 years. For Pete Rose, it's been over 20. Can we just lift them so we can get them into the Hall of Fame? Because these 2 guys are historical ball players. Who gives a crap about the behind-the-scenes stuff? Because every Hall of Fame story in any sport, there are some players, there are some jackasses outside the field. Okay? But inside, they did what they did to help their team win. You got the hit king not in your Hall of Fame. That makes no sense to me. So if Manfred's going to do this, if he's going to hold on, if he's going to be like another Bud Selig, then I hope he doesn't be in that office very long, because I need someone to relieve Shoeless Joe Jackson and Pete Rose so they can get into the Hall of Fame, just to be eligible to get in the Hall of Fame at least.
Why do you think? Why do you feel like they should be in the Hall of Fame though?
Like I said, you got 2 guys, historical guys. Shoeless Joe Jackson, great, phenomenal hitter.
But they
back
took
in
the
day.
ultimate dump on their sport.
True. And Pete Rose, like I said, there have been guys in the Hall of Fames in every known sport who have been jerks.
I mean,
everyone knows about Lawrence Taylor.
It was a dairy-ridden dump.
Everyone knows about
like
Ty
the worst
Cobb.
dump possible.
Yes, but I understand your feeling. But like I said, just to be eligible, they don't necessarily have to be voted in. But if you
Like they ate copious amounts of spinach and ice cream and took a dump on their sport. So
I understand that. But
kale.
Kale. How about some was it mustard green?
Yeah, all of that. This is a foul dump.
So to me personally, I'm a big Pete Rose fan, when I was a kid, and I understand the fact of what he did, but he's your hit king. And you don't have the guy who has over 4,121 hits. I believe that's the number. And he's not in the Hall of Fame. That doesn't make any sense.
I mean, if he shit on the sport,
He didn't shit on the sport. He just did something he shouldn't have done because he needed more money. I understand that.
I mean, the prison are full of people who did some quote unquote needed more money.
True. So, but I just feel hopefully again just to make him eligible at least. They gave him that one. They gave Pete Rose a pass so they can, during 1999's All-Star game, so he can be on the field and be honored as one of the Century teams, players, which is great. But I really wish they could just, for him and Shoeless Joe Jackson, so that way maybe be eligible.
I say give him a pair of shoes, but don't put him in the Hall of Fame.
Okay. Speaking of pair of shoes, let's go to the AFC. NFL, and there's a sort of like a slide question with this one as well. I'm a diehard Ravens fan, and I always will be, but I question this team. I'm going to start with the AFC North because there's competition, some tight competition between the Ravens, the Bengals, and the Steelers. Browns, forget y'all. If you are a Browns fan, I applaud you. But let's be honest, folks. You got a long way to go.
You had some good defensive highlights.
Yeah, that's about it.
But that about it.
So we'll get back to the Browns a little bit later, especially with their new quarterback who'll be on the bench in the first few weeks.
2 first-round picks from last year are gone, right?
Right.
When has that ever happened?
That makes sense. That's
2 first-round picks gone within a year, right?
Right. And the sad part is you have a new owner.
And they both suck for their new teams.
Right. So, and assuming, but it still didn't make any sense. The way, mid-season trade, and then just you fire your coach just after 1 year, and they were looking decent.
Yeah, before Hoyer got hurt, he was pretty damn good.
Yeah, so it didn't make any sense.
Confuses me.
Right.
On the Johnny Manziel hype. I'm like, Hoyer looked really good last year.
Right.
Until he tore his ACL.
Right. So I just think Cleveland's going to be rocking the bottom again. But the battle will be for number one. I really think it's going to be between the Ravens and the Bengals.
Homer.
Here's the thing. I still believe in the Bengals will take it. Due to the fact of this, like I said earlier, the Ravens defense is in question because of their corners. It's all about health. They're always.
What they got?
I mean, Jimmy Smith.
Webb and Smith.
Webb, well, Webb is hurt. Asha Jackson's hurt.
Shocker.
Jimmy Smith, he just was bleeding out of his mouth last week against the Cowboys. So it's kind of like, okay, we need health here in the corners. And so, I mean, the front seven it's going to be solid, but they can only do so much. So if they're going to get burned again, and especially that's always been the Ravens' problems the last, even during the Super Bowl run, has been the dealing with the passing game, defensively. So I just think that, Ravens will be contending this time. I think they'll get a wild card spot, but I think the Bengals will take the division again.
And you think the Steelers won't?
They don't want to admit it, but they're rebuilding. Let's be honest. I mean, Palomalo is getting older, and also the way, not just the Steelers, but also the Ravens defense, the way that team was built, it was out of aggression. And the Steelers, the way they tackle and the way they do things and with these crazy new rules now, they're going to be penalized a lot. And I mean,
in their prime, Harrison was penalized a lot.
True.
It was still pretty successful.
But still, I think, the way that the Steelers' defense mentality has been aggressiveness, and especially
Dick LeBeau, baby. Yeah. I don't see him not being
Dick LeBeau
top 10 or at least the top half in defense.
I just think that Dick LeBeau, I don't think he's going to retire at all unless he does not want to do this no more. I don't think he's going to quit. But I just think that Steelers it's still rebuilding. I mean, their main focus has always been passing. They haven't had an established running game since Jerome Bettis left. So,
they got the 2 potheads now, so
And the receiving core is pretty much new. So is everyone's saying Ben
Roethlisberger's a winner though, man.
He's a winner, but the thing is,
the past 2 seasons, teams that went 8-8, I think would have been
true
4-12 or 3-13. If they didn't have Tomlin and Roethlisberger, those are pretty weak teams in my opinion.
Right.
They were on par with the Redskins for a good first half of last year, and they still ended up pulling off a 500 record. So that's just me.
That's just you.
And that's fine.
All right. But I still go with the Bengals. Who do you think was win the North?
Steelers.
Damn. That's just a shot in the gut right there. So anyway,
they got the best quarterback, and I think the defense will have a resurgence.
We'll see. What about the East? The weakest division ever.
The AFCs?
AFC East. Well, yeah, honestly, yeah. AFC and AFC East are the weakest divisions. Anybody can win it. Let's put it this way. This is how I interpret the weakest division.
AFCs?
Listen to
the Patriots?
Listen, hear me out. It's weak due to the fact of the Patriots' dominance. It is that. That's why it's weak. Because it's like if the Patriots have been running that division for over a decade and no other team, Jets had a chance and they faltered. Dolphins had a chance and they can't get out of the water. And the Bills, they don't know what the hell they're doing.
That was clever.
I know.
Water thing.
So the point is,
took me a second to get it.
I know.
That means it was good.
And the sad thing is like, look, Tom Brady, he's 38. He doesn't have Wes Welker anymore, but somehow he's still throwing like everything's normal.
Yeah, Mr. Glass.
Yeah.
Danny Amendola.
Yeah, that's true. And Gronkowski, he's primed to be. Hey, he's the ultimate tight end. Everyone liking, and it's like, oh god.
Also, Mr. Glass.
Yes, but the thing is like, look, the Patriots defense is average. And that's why I feel like it's
they did add a certain Darrell Revis.
And he's average. I don't care how much money let's be honest, folks. How can you have a guy who's being this high-priced guy be on 3 different teams in 2 seasons?
Drama.
Is that
moving along?
So that's why I feel like
I heard Macklin was smoking them, so that's why.
True. So that's why I feel like the Patriots is to me is just they've been overhyped for too long in a weak division. And you just over dominating on the division. It just has everyone else is just not doing all that great. That's why I feel like hopefully this year, if the Dolphins get their crap together, they can do it.
Yeah, it depends on what's that young quarterback down there?
Tannehill?
Miami, Florida.
Tannehill?
Yeah, if Tannehill makes some steps forward, I can see it happening. But
I mean, he has a hot girlfriend, and he still can't do anything. So. Or his wife now. I think they've been married now.
She is pretty high.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. I mean, clearly that's the Patriots division, as always.
Yeah. To lose. So it's. I mean, it's sad when you're guaranteed 6 wins. It to me it's like how can you have a.
I mean, if you think of it too, the Jets came out of nowhere and had those 2 seasons where they kind of ran shit. So.
Right, but they.
I wouldn't necessarily discount the Dolphins from doing it. Honestly, the Jets are still there. The quarterback thing is
that's
set up, but Rex Ryan's always going to put out a great defense.
That's why. The defense has been. I want to say. Let me correct that. The offense has always been their Achilles heel ever since Sanchez just sort of like was not given the vote of confidence anymore, and the defense, true, it has been there. But they get tired. Especially when they have to, try to hold on to what the offense is giving up, and it gets tiring. So Rex Ryan can constantly say, "Hey, let's play like a Jet all he wants," and while this team is floundering, it doesn't make any sense. You bring in Geno Smith, mind you, he was exciting. Everyone, all the Jets fans, uproar, "Hey, yeah, JGS, Jets, for Smith and all that stuff," and then he's throwing goose eggs here and there and everywhere. Now you bring in Michael Vick. He switches one green jersey for another, and what are you bringing him in for? Is he gonna be the fill-in or is he gonna be the starter?
Who knows? I don't know. That's
because it's the same thing. It's the
crap
same
show.
But it's the same thing when Sanchez and Brett Favre were in. it's the same thing. It doesn't make any sense to why you have an established veteran and an up and coming rookie. So what kind of why you want to set up a quarterback controversy for?
Yeah, if anything, I mean, let Smith learn.
Mm-hmm.
But you know how to work out. I mean, depending on what team they think they have. I mean, if they do feel competitive, Vic probably will start.
Yeah. So we'll see. So we both agree on the Patriots
Vic's
winning?
not all that good.
No, of course not.
Yeah, definitely Patriots.
Yeah.
I mean,
all right.
far and away.
Far and away. All right. Next is the AFC South, where we already crushed the Texans because we know they're not going anywhere. But the Titans, the Colts, and forget the Jags. So basically, it's Colts. and again,
Colts will probably be the only winning team in that division.
All right. So again, the South has always been when, like I said before, the Texans had an opportunity. That was their window. The Colts were fading. Peyton Manning was gone. Andrew Luck was kind of like, oh, I don't know what I'm going to do. But then Luck had that great first year. And the Texans just sort of like, whoa, wait a minute. I thought this was our chance. Again, it's one thing to visually see a team just die off. And that's what we saw in the Houston Texans. It's kind of like their mentality, their whole physicality of this team just died off. And, mind you, they had the running problems with Aaron Foster and Ben Tate. And now Tate's gone to Cleveland. And Aaron Foster's by himself, and he can't carry the load because he's injury prone. Andre Johnson, he's kind of like, okay, as much
he wanted out.
He wants out. He's been asking out since I believe the beginning of the season. So it's I'm surprised they haven't even honored him of that.
I think now he's back in the fold. But if I were him, I would have traded him. Like, what's the point?
Right. So
Tyler Thigpen or whoever the hell they have throwing to Andre Johnson.
So any random person they can find. So
fucking shoeless Jack Johnson.
So it's just sad. The Colts are going to be dominating again, unless again it's pretty much how the Patriots are. This is the Colts division to lose. It's not to win. It's to lose. Jaguars, we all know where they're at. They're a mess. They got a messy uniform scheme. They have a messy quarterback controversy. They have a messy type of scenario where I don't know where their focus is. They haven't been interesting since their first 2 years of existence. So they're celebrating their 20th anniversary, and pretty much we're saying they just suck. So
Colts.
All right, now the interesting division, the AFC West.
West Side.
Broncos, Raiders, Chiefs, and Chargers. These four are the original AFL teams, American Football League teams, and this is going to be ugly.
Up in here.
I'm going to ask you, John, do you think, as much as we were seeing Peyton preseason-wise, he's looking at mid-season form, but do you really think that he's going to repeat what he did last year?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
Or come very close. But, yeah, there'll be minimum 12 wins. Minimum. You got to remember DeMarcus Ware, Aqib Talib. You're going to get a full year out of, what's that gentleman that rushes the passer from the other side? Whose name escapes me right now.
Who's this?
The top-notch sack machine for the Broncos. What's his name? He was suspended for half. Oh, no, he's hurt last year.
Oh, I forgot his name.
Literally, first-round pick like 2 years ago.
Damn internet. What's going on?
But yeah, him, Ware, Talib. Again, I think one of the corners was hurt most of last year. I mean, their defense will be a lot better. Mm-hmm. So you can give Peyton Manning a little wiggle room to throw for maybe 500 less yards, which will still put him way over 4,000. So, yeah, I mean, anywhere between 12 and 14 wins for them. I don't necessarily believe that the Chiefs are going to repeat their success. Not to the same extent. I think the Chargers will pretty much probably be the second best team in that division.
You think so?
Yeah.
Chargers.
I have a soft spot for Alex Smith, so.
Right.
But I don't know. It just that whole setup just seemed kind of fluky to me.
Uh-huh.
And the way they crumbled against, the way they let the Colts come back in that playoff game, it just doesn't inspire me with the Chiefs.
Let's put it this way: Raiders are
an afterthought.
Yeah, Raiders always been an afterthought.
You tell one of your biggest free agents is Justin Tuck. You can tuck that season in.
Right. mind you, it would be between the Broncos, Raiders. Let me correct myself. Broncos, Chiefs, and Chargers. But the Chargers, I think their main problem, I think, will be the running game because they don't really have it. If they're going to rely on Phillip Rivers a lot and their receiving core, it's going to be too much for them to deal with, because if they don't have a good established running game, it's going to be a problem. Chiefs, though, I really think they had it. And I mean, they were like right there with the Broncos, but unfortunately, towards the end of the season, they just dropped off. And that game against the Colts,
but you knew it would, though.
Not really. I thought the Chiefs really. I thought the Chiefs had it, and especially the game of the Colts really exposed how their mental breakdown was. I mean, that you pretty much dominated that team throughout the entire game, and you up to 3.5 quarters, and then somehow you allow them to come back. I mean, just let them walk through. I mean, you had them beat in their own home, and you couldn't finish them off. Made no sense to me.
Yeah, and Charles got hurt though.
Yeah,
which is the part.
That's the sad part.
Which is why I'm not investing too much in him this year.
So, but hopefully, he's fully recovered, and I really think that the Chiefs will be.
You gotta hope that he doesn't get hurt again in one of the most injury-prone positions in the sport.
That's true. So I will see how that team goes, but I just personally think, I really think the Chiefs have a shot to surprise the Broncos.
I'd love for them. I like Alex Smith.
Yeah.
And I like Andy Reid for some reason. So I'd like for that to happen. I just wouldn't necessarily bet on it.
Right. So right now we're both green Broncos.
Yep, definitely.
Okay, Broncos.
Far and away.
Okay, so who will face your team, the Niners, in the Super Bowl against in the AFC?
Broncos.
So
they're going back.
Niners and Broncos.
Peyton Manning wins a Super Bowl next year.
Seattle will face. This is the team I picked before last week. I see them facing against, out of surprise, if all the numbers work, I really think it will be the Chiefs.
Wow.
If, like I said, if the numbers work, meaning that if the Broncos are the Broncos like we know, Brady, if the Peyton Manning we know, like you said last week, Peyton Manning just is not a good playoff quarterback. He's a good regular season quarterback, but he's not a good playoff quarterback. And whatever happened to the Broncos mentally, and they can repeat all the regular season stuff they did last year into this year, because since the Ravens beat them out in 2012, and so in 2013 he just ransacked through everybody, get to the Super Bowl, and they throw nothing. They got crushed. So pretty much, and everyone, I hear all the the commentators, the analysts, and saying it's like, the Broncos got this crazy elite offense. They can do this and that and all that stuff. It's the same offense you saw the Patriots have. It's the same offense that you see anywhere else. It's a new formation of the run and shoot anyway. And the Seahawks crushed it. So, but with these new rules and everything, who knows what will happen?
Well, yeah, the Seahawks also ushered in this. It reminds me back when the Patriots started their dynasty. Mm-hmm. You had that emphasis on, illegal touching by a DB down the field. Now you got it again.
Yeah. So now that with these new rules and everything, things will kind of be changing. But again, the NFL really got to realize that's another issue I'll have to deal with later. But the NFL has to realize the fact that, look, defense wins championships. And what we saw last year in this past year's Super Bowl was defense. And what we saw the year prior was defense. Unfortunately, thanks to the lights turning off, that's how the Niners came back. Because trust me, folks, that was another Super Bowl blowout. But it's
always come down to pass rush, as I always say. So Seattle probably have a similar pass rush again this year.
So I will see Seattle and Kansas City.
Denver's will be significantly better.
Right. So, so Niners, for you, Niners and Broncos, who will win?
Broncos.
Wow. I think Seahawks will be 2-time champions against the Chiefs. So, because again, defense wins championships. That's how it all works. Let's go back to Johnny Football, Johnny Manziel. Why not? Because he's hot. Everyone loves him. The NFL loves him. He's the new king.
Per Monday Night Football, he's not. I'm so glad that he looked extremely. And that team is screwed, by the way.
The Browns.
Yeah, I don't know. Mike Pettin's like, I'm gonna do 2 series, and they do 2 series. I'm like, it was just no continuity. Like for both quarterbacks, it just looked out of sync. Like it's just that doesn't work. I didn't get the logic behind that.
Because again, he's a new coach. For some odd reason, these new coaches have to feel like they have to work out a philosophy. Or, again, it's just like, I need to evaluate how these quarterbacks are going to be.
But you start the veteran and make the rookie earn it. Like, just Hoyer's a starter. That's it.
But you're getting pressured by the owner. That's the thing. That's the sad part. It's like, he's our number 1 pick, and you're going to bench him? No. Let him, it's like...
Well, he's the first round pick that fell to, like, 22. So,
right.
I mean, clearly, he's not NFL ready off the break. Right. So,
key question. 2 years ago. Now, RG3 comes in. Would you have, again, you had a veteran. Rex
but Rex Grossman was a...
But still, okay, if you were the coach of the Redskins...
And we traded the world to get RG3. It's not quite the same.
What do you think the Browns are doing?
They used the pick they got for, Trenton Richardson or something. I mean, it wasn't like, he was the 20-some pick. Like, RG3, we traded the world... And one is Daniel Snyder's testicles, to get Rob Baker for the 3rd and 2nd pick. You had to start him from the jump. Okay. But Manziel, I'm like, you got Hoyer. He was looking good. You wonder what he could have done last year if he didn't get hurt. So Hoyer, I mean, let's meet Hoyer, my starter. And it puts the rookie in his place. Like, you can earn this. You athlete superstar, which makes no sense to me. Like, I to this day, I don't get the Johnny Manziel hype.
Okay, again, both of them. Both are from Texas. Okay, both of them from Texas schools, which is like gods down there, which makes no sense. So, and pretty much they both have this kind of the same attitude, thinking that they've won all this time, up to now, and pretty much once you finally get into the pros, you figure it's like you're the shit. And I just felt like, okay, let's really be real here. Mind you, Manziel, he's coming off like a big punk anyway, especially, flipping the bird during the game and all that stuff.
Monday Night Football.
And I just felt like, okay, dude, I think that's what got him, benched for the, pretty much, be known as the backup.
I mean, he's that guy. You can't escape it. And the Browns probably realize it. He's that guy. He's who we thought he was. Mm-hmm. He's not going to shock anybody and be this upstanding starting NFL quarterback. I don't think it's going to happen.
This is proving once again, college football needs to tone down the overhypeness of college quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. I just think,
they want to make money. I mean,
no, come on. Who's making the money? Who?
Tim Tebow. They knew what he was going to be, Some idiot drafted him in the first round. Same thing. It's like, you can't force... It doesn't necessarily translate over.
He wasn't a Heisman Trophy winner.
You know what I mean? Like, Manziel's running around doing all this stuff against defenders that are, going to be lawyers in 3 or 4 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's be real. You know what I mean? Like, 95% of college athletes don't play professional sports. Probably more than that. So,
true.
It's like, he's good in college. It doesn't translate. Just like you got dudes that aren't that great in college. Tom Brady, for instance. One of the greatest ever.
Yeah.
So,
I think he's average, but anyway, continue.
Johnny Manziel, I just don't, I love the swag and the illicit drug use. I mean, who can't get into that? but I don't see him being, I'll be shocked and appalled if he's, wins a playoff game as a starting quarterback.
So do you think that the Cowboys, were smart to bite the bullet and not draft him?
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
hell yeah.
As much help they need a quarterback, you felt like not having Manziel, even as a PR thing, just to have him, he's homegrown boy playing with the homegrown.
I mean, you get Manziel, you gotta from the beginning make him second string. Like, you can't have it a competition. It's just too much. Like, no, just humble him. Sit your ass down. Stop rolling up dollar bills in the mirror at the Las Vegas public restroom. Just chill out.
All right. The one issue I have with, not one, there's many. I just think that, again, it goes back to his college days. I just really think the fact that the college game just overhypes these guys, and especially, Manziel was, Heisman Trophy winner. I just feel like he's a quarterback. He throws the ball, he hands off the ball, that's it. I mean, I don't care. Everyone can comment to, oh, he's the general of the field. He does this and that and everything else. And it's like, no.
Dude, I know I can think of somebody on top of my head, a Division I college football athlete, who got arrested selling weed on a corner. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't mean anything. It's not that. We did the numbers last week. How many teams are in Division I football?
Right.
And multiply that by what? 70 people?
Right.
So a ton of people play college football. Right. A good amount of people.
Right.
Dominating that is impressive, but it don't mean when you weed all those people out and go to the next level, that's going to be that much tougher.
That's true.
They say a wide open pass in college is an interception in the NFL.
Right. Especially if you're very, the way I see that nowadays, college football is more like an upgrade high school game. It's like the defense is never there. The whole schematics of everything is very lackadaisical anyway. So I that's why I just cannot stand that game anymore. And we already discussed about the college playoff coming this year. So who knows how that will go? But we'll discuss that down at a later time. But I just feel that with Manziel, the transition from him to now, him from being from Texas A&M to going to Cleveland. If that hasn't humbled him yet, I don't know what will. Just you going to Cleveland.
Nothing will.
So it boggles my mind. It's sort of the fact that everyone in Cleveland is like, oh, we get LeBron back and now we get Johnny Manziel. Oh, this is gonna be great. People, let's be real. Cleveland is not going to do all that great this year.
I hope Johnny Manziel gave RG3 the biggest hug in the world Monday night. Because if RG3 didn't have that rookie season with that read option, Manziel would have been. They would have compared Manziel to Tebow. They wouldn't have compared him.
I think he will be Tebow. He's a new Tebow.
I agree with you. I'm just saying RG3 gave him light to say, oh, well, you can run a read option and But if that never happened, like
in a preseason
Tim Tebow.
Here's the thing. Here's the big question. A lot of Cleveland fans will be saying, okay, now that Hoyer is the number one starter in the beginning of the season, at what point in time will Manziel start? Because that's always the countdown. Every fan in Cleveland will say this, like when is Manziel gonna start?
I think Hoyer's gonna surprise you, and he won't start, and Manziel won't play this year.
I hope that's true because as long as Manziel is in the background and whatever, and here's the sad thing about Hoyer is this: anything he does wrong, every fan will yell out for Manziel, and I think that's highly unfortunate for him. And it's just like, look, it's if whatever wrong thing he does, if he height wrong, if he dressed wrong, it'll be asking for Manziel, and it's unfortunate for that because it's like, look, the dude earned this job. He earned it last year. He got hurt. He comes back. Pretty much. I think that he earned it for this year. Manziel has to realize, the fans, let's put it actually, not just Manziel, but the fans have to realize the fact that he Brian Hoyer is your quarterback, not Johnny Manziel. And if they don't realize that, then I think, again, if you are a Cleveland Browns fan, you are stupid. You're as stupid as that guy who peed on Art Modell's grave. And
pretty interesting.
So that's how stupid you are. Just, let's play everything out, and, hopefully everything will work itself out. So anyway, we've talked the talk, so we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we will close out the show. Trust and believe that the Cleveland Browns are going to suck for a while, so trust and believe. Anyway, this is No Filter Sports. This is I don't know why we're cooling down because it's almost towards the end of the show. But I just want to let you all know that there's been a lot of people responding to this. Brandon, our old boys, our old homeboy from the days of our previous outlet. He still shout outs. He still supports the Falcons. He's a big Falcon fan. And even though he comes in from time to time with different sports teams gear, he supports the Falcons, which is kind of funny. So I guess, and he texts me and he's saying, go Falcons, even though he's probably watching them on that weak-ass Hard Knocks. I mean, have you seen the latest season of Hard Knocks, John?
No, which sums up how bad it is, probably.
So
I haven't even heard enough about it to make me tune in.
Actually, everyone's saying this is the worst season ever. I mean, because there's just no.
Well, I haven't watched it in like 3 years.
Yeah, well, for this team, it's just bad. I mean, because of the fact that there's just no personalities.
Most of the good teams don't want anything to do with it. It seems
right. Yeah, they made a rule. Pretty much the Falcons were forced to be doing this, which I feel is like as a team is kind of like, all right, we'll do it. Damn it. So, which I personally feel is like, look, Hard Knocks ran its course. Mm-hmm. And I just think that, after, when the Ravens did it, I think that was great. When the Cowboys did it, okay, that was entertaining. Then we get the rehash with the Dolphins and we get the drama of Chad Johnson. I do not recall him as his number. I call him his Chad Johnson because that's who his name is, his government name. And pretty much he... that whole drama fit of him and his, Evelyn and all that crazy drama bit. So that was, again, entertaining. But when you start doing the actual football of it, it's kind of like, no, we're done here. I just really think it's like the NFL has to realize to know when to stop. And again, Roger Goodell and his overhypeness of trying to overexpose this league is getting to the point where they just do not know when to stop. And I think that's and something like this is just like, look, it's ran its course. If your goal is to show all 32 teams, great, but it's not that entertaining. If you were going to do Hard Knocks, I would have did the Cleveland Browns. If you knew what you were going to get with the Falcons, then you should have realized. And it's like, no, let's do the Cleveland Browns because one, you got Johnny Manziel, you got the whole drama of what he just did recently with the Redskins. Yeah, I mean that would have been interesting. That would have been talk. If that's what you were wanting out of this year's Hard Knocks, you should have did that. No, you give us the Falcons, and they're a boring team. Yeah, so and as much as you're trying to say, oh, we're trying to they're going to be the next whatever, and we got to, like you said about Matt Ryan, we're trying to see where they're going and all that stuff. So I just view it as whatever. So that's it. So Brandon, enjoy your Hard Knocks, enjoy your Falcons. I think next week will be the season finale because that'll be the end of the season. No, wait, they got 2 more weeks. So what I missed the drama of it. That one guy you're following and you see him. Oh, will he be cut? Will he stay on the team? Yeah. He's you get that kid who walks in. Is like, yo, I need to get John Smith. Can you come and follow me, please? And all that stuff. Bring your bag and bring your books. So that's how it is. So that's the dramatic factor of it. But now it's kind of like, who cares? So unless you like the Falcons, that's great. But for a national fan, who cares? Let's see. A response from the Sports Vixen, a.k.a. Kelsey Nelson. I posted out there about the NBA Christmas schedule, which I despise right now. Kelsey's mentioned the fact that the Wizards play the Knicks through on Christmas, which I mentioned the fact that time. She also says that as far as LeBron, or she interprets it Bron, he's spoon-fed by the NBA. They do whatever he wants to keep the baby happy. They cater to his every need, which is true. I just, if for Anthony, he wasn't here last week, I mentioned the fact that the Cleveland Cavaliers, they'll be playing like the Browns anytime soon, got the Christmas game with the Heat. Now, I felt like, okay, throughout the years, this has been going on. They've been doing the Christmas game. We've been seeing pretty much the premier teams. And these are teams they've either been to the playoffs or has the high, market rate like the Lakers. But the Lakers aren't hosting. They're going out and about. The Clippers are hosting, which is kind of interesting. So that's cool. But the Wizards are facing the Knicks. The Knicks is this becoming their new tradition. So, but Cleveland, since they got LeBron, now they got Kevin Love going to the Heat. They're facing the Heat in Miami. And John and I, and Rex last week, we had this crazy discussion about this, and I personally felt like this is bullshit. It's like, how can you give Cleveland Cavaliers the Christmas day? Because he's facing the Heat, and they're going to face each other 3 other times during the season. I just feel like they don't deserve it. I don't care who's on this team. If your main focus is LeBron, I agree with what Kelsey just said. It's like all you did was cater to him, and giving this crazy storyline. It's like he's coming back to Miami. Who gives a shit? You're gonna do it 3 other times.
It's good TV, man.
Here's good. Here's a good TV. Let me ask you this. A couple of years ago, I remember there was Cleveland Cavaliers without LeBron, and the Washington Wizards with John Wall came and ended up saying, they were both on this crazy losing streak. And they were and pretty much the Cavaliers were about to break the NBA record. I told to somebody, I said, that should be on television. Everyone looked at me like I was crazy. But it's like, it's like, why do you want to support, it's like, you're looking at it, it's like, okay, if you're trying to get a story, there's the story. 2 teams on losing paths, and one's about to break an NBA record. Right. So, but you keep pushing this winning shit. And especially if this team has the number 1 superstar of whomever. So I don't know, if you're trying to push your NBA brand, then push all your damn teams then. Don't give me, and if you're saying, if you were going to put in Cleveland then, why didn't you put them in last year on Christmas? No, all I saw was top teams. That's all I saw. All I saw was former playoff teams, and that's all you've been pushing for the last 5 years you've been doing this. So now, okay, Cleveland gets LeBron back. You put him in Christmas? Bullshit. Complete bullshit. It's like that team was nothing for 4 years. Get a top guy in, put him in there, and we'll set up, perfect. Christmas Day, he comes home to Miami. Bullshit. I call bullshit on that.
I mean, you mainly just gonna watch to see the.
I'm not gonna watch that game. I'm gonna watch the Wizards and Knicks and call it a day.
The fans' reaction to LeBron. That's pretty much.
I'll sleep after my turkey dinner.
What few fans show up
with their white shirts? Yeah. So, Sharon Nicole, she also commented about the Christmas Day schedule and especially the Cavs and Heat game, and she says from the time of David Stern, the NBA has been telling the best stories with key games. And this is not a key game to me. This to me is a game to where it's just horrible. I just think it's just gonna, because here's what the commentators are gonna say. They're gonna pretty much say that LeBron did this, LeBron did that, LeBron, blah, 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 blah. And that's how it's going to be. And you're going to lose interest in the game. Everyone's keeping, and that's the thing. You got to, focus on the damn team. Don't focus on a player and his issues and of how that team was when he was on that team. Who gives a crap? Focus on the damn game. So, Jesus.
Angry?
Bitter.
Supposed to be the cool down.
But Keisha Cole, you know how she is. She got that attitude, where it's just like riles you back up. So anyway, I'm gonna try to, I'm so pissed off. I'm gonna end it in a pissed off mode. I'm gonna say what I always say. I tell people all the time: be good to yourself and each other. But anyway, John, where can people find you?
At John the Gift.
John the Gift, both on Twitter and the Instagram.
The IG, sir.
And And Anthony, I know he just want to be in the background, but chilling. And speaking of which, you're planning. You've been writing down a lot. So what are you scheming up?
Oh well, hopefully I can bring to WLLS radio a good cool, relax, more of a calm down side of things, not turning up like my man over here is right now.
Yeah, I was supposed to cool things down there, but I just brought it back up. So.
Oh yeah, he turned up Keisha Cole style.
Yeah,
fish place and all.
Yes, see, that's how it works. Anyway, we will be back next week at the same time, same channel, WLLS Radio, first class. Here at 8 o'clock with No Filter Sports. John, thank you for coming, and
you're welcome.
And don't forget, people. The first weekend of September is the return of the Rex Stanley Show, 4 to 6:30 here on WLS Radio. Yes, dominance. So anyway,
epic proportion.
Yes,
diabolical.
Yes. Anyway, thanks to you again, folks, and always remember: be good to yourself.